Hey, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Coffee Break on Coffee with Democrats. We are joined today by Mark Mann. Mark Mann is running for Senate District 46 in Oklahoma City. Mark has been a friend of ours for several months now. We met the first time on Coffee with Democrats, I think back in May. And it's exciting to see you again, Mark. Hey, welcome. Good morning.
Hey, thanks for having me. Good morning.
And it's so fun. We were just talking about meeting again up at the Cowboy Hall of Fame during Governor Beshear's event. What a
Yes.
wonderful event that we had. And then I continue to talk with everybody that comes on our show about my experience up with in Chicago at the Democratic National Convention. What an amazing event, and the excitement for that, I think, is just carrying over everywhere.
Exactly.
And we just had our Cleveland County fair this weekend, and the numbers, it was almost 5-1 Democrat support versus the Republican uh, area that they had set up, the desk for the Republicans. So we had so many people buying signs for Harris and Walls and picking up the local legislators as well. So,
A lot of
but
enthusiasm out there.
there really is.
I
And
like to
that's
say
kind of,
we've got I like to say we've got momentum and they've got no momentum.
that's right. I appreciate you saying that. That's good. That's good. So I'm going to turn it over to you and say what's going on in your part of the prairie.
Man, we are gearing back up for the general election. Never really stopped, and excited about having Vice President Harris leading the ticket. I think it's brought a lot of energy and excitement in voters that may traditionally not want to go vote. And we see that when we're on the doors and we're out in the community talking. So, real excited about what's happening in our campaign. Oklahoma City, Del City, very, very good district for Democrats. Joy Hoffmeister carried this district by 68%. President Biden won this district 4 years ago. So we're hoping for a strong show in Senate District 46 so that maybe my hope is that we can turn Oklahoma County blue on the presidential election.
Yeah, and that's just an amazing testament right there, and it's so exciting. I mean, a good friend of both of ours, Andy Fugate, Tegan Malone. We've got
Great.
so many great people over there on that side of the community that they're really, the enthusiasm among all those people are so great. So talk to us a little bit about your campaign and what you've been doing here lately, and what do you have plans in the next month or so, but getting geared up for the November 5th election.
Exactly. Well, of course, we're out on doors, been going to events. That'll start to tick up really next week. We'll start back into our social media marketing and intensify the doors. We'll start text. We have a text that's going out this week regarding signs, and then those will just continue to roll. And then, of course, in the last couple of weeks, we'll do our direct mail program in GOTV. So we've got it all ready to roll. We just have to get it implemented and feel real good about it. And, I'm back to President Harris, our Vice President Harris and her candidacy. It's been refreshing because we started this campaign, 19 months ago now. But the things we have talked about from the beginning, which I believe are really the things that are the winning message for Democrats, whether you're rural Oklahoma or urban Oklahoma City or running for president, are the things that she's honed in on since she's become the nominee. And that's really building the middle class. And so
Right.
I've got my walk card here. If you can see it, that it says real priorities for the middle class. And we know historically, when you deliver a message that focuses on the middle class and you're successful, we look at history when the middle class is growing, poverty shrinking, businesses are making more money, shareholders are making more money. So a focus on the middle class really is a rising tide that lifts all ships. You've heard it said, we need to, in this country and in this state, we need to build from the bottom up and the middle out, not the top down. And so you do that with a message of strong public schools. And in Oklahoma, that means standing firm against Ryan Walters and some of the stuff that he is perpetuating each and every day. I happen to be at the Cherokee Nation national holiday a couple of weeks ago, and I think Chuck Hoskins said it best. And he said, in the Cherokee Nation, we don't want to ban books and we don't want to ban kids because of who they are. And I think that's something that we have to get our focus back on: quality public education, robust workforce development, particularly in the age that we're in with technology changing things constantly. We've got to really start at the middle school level, letting kids explore careers, get them on a career path in high school, which could be college, it could be, career tech or trades or aerospace or whatever the case may be. But then we have to continue that and beef that up. We've got a great career tech system in order to do this for adults. Adults should be able on a dime to go back and get the training they need. And we need to be putting in front of them what that training is to stay ahead of the job market. So strong public schools, robust workforce development, access to healthcare. We have to have, particularly in our underserved communities, access to quality public health care. No one's going to locate a business. No one's going to want to move in to an area that is a healthcare desert. And we've got a lot of those in Oklahoma, particularly rural Oklahoma, that's causing a strain on our healthcare system in Oklahoma City. And so access to healthcare, robust workforce development, strong public schools, and then finally infrastructure. We have to focus on roads and bridges and digital infrastructure and mass transportation, and natural resources are part of that infrastructure, protecting our water resources and things of that nature. Those are the things that if we focus on as a state, that will build the middle class, it'll grow economic wealth, it'll decrease poverty, and it'll create opportunity for people really across the board. And so if that's our message and we stick to that message, I think as Democrats, that's the winning message. And that's what we're going to be doing between now and November 5th.
That's an amazing testament, what you just spoke about. I really appreciate you talking about how to build the middle class. As a person who worked 43 years as a blue collar locomotive engineer, I appreciate, building the middle class and supporting our unions to be able to grow. Because Absolutely. Again, when you grow the middle class, basically the unions is what makes the middle class. And that's what, all of those things that you talked about, the trades, we can support that through our labor unions as well. So I appreciate that, all of that. I mean,
I'll say this historically, you brought up unions, and I'm proud to be endorsed early on by AFL-CIO and our building trade, our trade unions in the state. But if you look historically and you look at the graph, as union membership goes up, the middle class increases, those are the times of vast economic prosperity in this country.
Yes.
And that's what we have, because we've got the model in front of us. It's not trickle down. We've got the model in front of us. We know it works. We can go back and look at the data.
Right. So we need to talk a little bit more about how can people support you?
Well, we're going to have, we'll be rolling out later this week, days of action that we'll have starting a week from this Saturday, every Saturday leading up to the election, Saturday or Sunday, every weekend. Of course, volunteering, go into the website, markmannforsenate.com, and you can sign up to put out signs, make phone calls, knock doors. Those are the types of things that people can get involved with. And then, of course, if they want to donate, there's a link on there as well that you can click and donate, because none of this is cheap, I can tell you.
Right. And I just put both of those up there. I had the markmannforsenate.com up there. Now I've got the Secure Act Blue, donate for Mann for Senate. And one thing that I say this every single time we have this show, but I think we've got to continue to push this narrative. People want to support financially. And when people, people get a little discouraged because sometimes they'll see the first thing on there is like $20 or $40. You don't have to do that. No. There's a blank one down there.
There is.
If you want to give $1, $2, every little penny that you can donate is helpful. And I just ask everybody, I'm going to show you. Cup of coffee is about $5. And if you're willing to donate a cup of coffee to one of our candidates, you can do it one time or you can do it repeatedly. And you can do it every month, and you can designate, all right, how many months do I want to do this? We've only got, 58 days, 57 days now until the election. We can do it repeatedly, but please contribute financially whenever you can, however you can. Don't go broke doing it. I'm not asking anybody to go broke, but I am asking, and I say that because a lot of people, they have a little extra money and they do want to share that money with people that they support. And that's why it's so important for us to make sure that we show these Act Blue accounts up here. So
I
let's
like
talk.
to say, Kevin, on that note, I like to say equal sacrifice, not equal giving.
There
So if
you
you can
go.
afford 3,300, give it. But then to your point, I've got 2 or 3 regular donors that are $5 a month.
Yeah.
That's the sacrifice they can, and that's great. And that helps and it adds up.
Right.
And so give what you can give. Not everyone can give the same amount, and that's fine, but get involved and participate, whether it's me or a candidate, if you're listening somewhere else, or a lot of good candidates across the state, Tulsa and other areas, get involved and help a candidate locally.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You got, let's get back to you and your campaign and give you an opportunity to talk more about your campaign, where you're going to be campaigning at, and some of the big events that you might have coming up.
Well, our days of action are obviously the biggest events.
Biggest ones.
We're going to do, and I don't have the date in front of me. I think it's the 28th. We're going to have a joint event with Representative Fugate and Tegan Malone and Waylon Cubitt, who's our candidate for county sheriff.
Right.
Out at a football game in between Midwest City, Del City. We're going to be serving up popsicles and doing some stuff like that. Some joint days of action. I think October 5th, that Saturday, we're doing a joint day of action with Ellen Pogmiller, who's our candidate for House District 88, and Waylon Cubitt. And so those are kind of the big events. We have not, as we've transitioned into the general, we focused really on just delivering our message and turning out IDs, because this is such a strong Democratic seat. So I've not put a lot of big flashy events that require a lot of turnout, because there are candidates that we have elsewhere in the county who need flashier events with a lot of turnout, because they're in the home stretch. But those are the big things that we're going to be doing between now and November 5th.
Well, that's wonderful. And those are the kinds of events that, again, when you start getting to the very local events that are within your district, it really matters to the people there that they really appreciate having a person that comes out and speaks directly to them.
Mm-hmm.
We hear this all the time. I mean, every single day I hear this from a candidate that says that they go out knocking doors and they'll have a conversation with somebody. They may even have a negative conversation where somebody says, "I'll never vote for you because I'm whatever." But the question that's always asked, has that Republican ever come and knocked on your door and had a conversation with you? And the answer is always no. They will never see their Republican representative at their door and wanting to have a conversation with them. Whereas on the Democrat side, we're always knocking on their doors and we're always trying to build those relationships, even across those divides where somebody is so adamant saying, I'll never vote for you. But then they turn around after just a few minutes and say, what's your name again? I want to get your card. Let me think about this a little bit. And those are the kind of things that just really inspire us.
And we're doing some stuff that I'm pretty excited about. We'll see how this works. But we're focusing on, and these are Democrats and Democrats and independents who normally never get focused on.
Yeah.
Very low propensity voters, which my theory is there's a reason why they're disconnected. I think that with Vice President Harris at the top of the ticket, a lot of these voters are energized and will go vote. So we're working those. We've identified a good group of those in the district. We're going to be working them between now and then. Probably that's the heaviest group we'll work. And then my hope is after the election, if we win, we're going to go back and see in that group how many voted. And then we'll keep in contact with those folks regularly over the next 2 years. And in the hope that they will feel like their vote actually matters. They've got someone that cares about what they think, and we can get those people back to the polls next time.
And that's the testimony of being a Democrat versus a Republican who basically wants to be a career politician or basically a career grifter who grifts off of the people. And that's really helpful. So one of the things that I try to ask people, and we just got a couple of minutes left here before we need to start wrapping this up, but do you have any fun or funny true stories that during your campaign that really would resonate with the voters and help them, understand who you are as an individual?
Gosh, I'm trying to think. Well, the funniest thing that happened, I don't know that this resonates with me as an individual, but we knocked a door in Del City. And I mean, it was a 92 or 94-year-old male. And he answered the door in a wheelchair and a pair of white tidy whities. And was a little embarrassed when he answered the door. And I handed him the walk card, and he pretty quickly, said, "Thank you. I'll look it over," and shut the door. And I'm just like, okay. Well, about 30 minutes later, I get a phone call because my number was on the information, and lifelong Democrat.
Yeah.
And of course, we had endorsements from Drew Edmondson and Scott Inman and all those. And he said, "I am so sorry. I didn't have my glasses on." Well, he barely had clothes on. He said, "If I'd had my glasses on and realized that you were a Democrat and all those Democrats were supporting you, I'd have told you to put a yard sign in my yard. Can you circle back around and get a yard sign in my yard?" And that's probably the funniest story of the whole, in my mind, of the whole election cycle, because I probably would not have the nerve to call someone back and I answered in my underwear. But this guy didn't care. He's 92. He's lived a long, good life. He didn't care.
Right. But that's a testament, though. That is a true testament, though, about building those relationships where now the person is like, yes, let's support you. Not only do we want to support you, but I want that yard sign out there so that all my neighbors will know who I support.
Yes.
So that is amazing.
And I said back to something you said a minute ago, and I didn't comment on it when you're talking about helping candidates, and if door knocking's not, there are a lot of ways to help. And what I tell some of my friends and volunteers that are like, we just don't want to knock a door, we can't talk to somebody. It's like, okay, we've got festivals, whether it's a farmer's market or whatever, that really aren't places you go push cards at. Yep. But you can put a t-shirt on and take your family out with 4 of you in a t-shirt and just walk around and let people see the logo and do your thing. And so there are a lot of ways you can get involved, and don't let your fear of knocking a door or something else inhibit you. Just pick up the phone and call that candidate, call us and say, what can we do? I don't want to do this, this, and this. And I guarantee you we can plug you in somewhere.
Well, that's wonderful. And that, again, that is the advocacy that we need to have from all of our people to be able to help all of our candidates. And because there's always a way to help. There's never, we never discourage somebody saying, all right, well, you can't help us. We never say that. We always leave the door open and try to figure out a way that a person can help. Man, it's a great day. It's a great conversation and a great time to be able to meet you and get an update on your campaign and really help people focused and continue to build momentum for the election on November 5th to support Mark. So I'm going to put it back up here on the banner here so people can see. Please go to www.markmannforsenate.com. And then I've got one more thing that I want people to talk about. And I really want to push this because this is the part that Oklahoma is a non-voting state. Well, we can change that. And with the momentum and the excitement that we're seeing coming out of the Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, we're also seeing that take place here in Oklahoma. The Cleveland County Fair was just this weekend. We had an enormous number of people wanting signs and the encouragement and enthusiasm, just coming over and saying hi to fellow Democrats. And we're just asking everybody, make a commitment to vote. And if you need right now, this is the biggest need that we have, check your voter registration. Go to iwillvote.com. Check your voter registration. Make sure that your voter registration has not been purged. If it has been purged, get yourself re-registered to vote. And then also make a plan and a commitment. This is the biggest part of it, commitment. Make a commitment to vote.
Yeah.
So we've got, I encourage everybody to vote absentee. And perfect example of this is we had an election the last of August, and I got COVID. I couldn't go vote. I would have infected other people. Besides that, I was too sick to vote. I just couldn't leave the house. And I didn't have a voter registration. Good news about that story is I had nothing to vote for in my district. So there was nothing for me to vote for anyhow. It was a Republican primary. It had nothing to do with Democrats. But had I wanted to, I couldn't. So that's the reason why I'm saying, everybody, please vote absentee. Go ahead and make sure you've got somebody who can, what's it called, where you have to get it endorsed.
And notarized.
Notarized. Get a notary that's free. You can go by the bank. They won't charge you. They can't charge you in the state of Oklahoma. They've been told not to. So you can get it notarized, drop it off in the mail. It's going to cost you maybe a few bucks for postage, but it's so much easier than having to go and stand in line, or possibly be in the heat or in a downpour or freezing cold rain or whatever on election day. It makes things a lot easier on yourself. So please get registered. Do this, iwillvote.com. Mark, it's great to see you again.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
I am just so excited about you, and we'll do this again between now and November. Just get an update because you've got an exciting personal story that's coming up this week I'm not going to get too involved here, but some real exciting news on your side that you need to take care of this personal event. It's something you have to take care of. So you're not going to be out knocking doors for a couple of days, but guess what? You're going to be coming back next week and hitting the ground hard. And that's the fun part about it.
Yep. And I'll say we've got volunteers that'll be knocking this week. So
good. Well, all right, Mark, great to talk to you again. And everybody who is listening in here, please continue to come back. We're going to be doing this every day about 10 a.m. We tried to start it at 10 a.m. this morning, but I had technical issues. It was a problem that we just couldn't overcome until about 10:10, and then we finally got everything overcome. But we'll do better tomorrow. So please come back tomorrow. We've got another candidate scheduled every day this week. And then we've got candidates that we're working all over the state of Oklahoma that are coming on Coffee with Democrats between now and November 5th. And we're going to have repeat conversations with many of them as well. So everybody, please, thank you for joining us on Coffee Break on Coffee with Democrats. And until tomorrow, everybody, please be safe. And thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
All right.